Most of us were never taught how to set boundaries. In fact, many of us grew up believing that saying yes makes us more helpful and more likable and more valuable. The reality is, every time you're saying yes to something that doesn't align with your values and doesn't align with your priorities, you're saying no to something else that does. As a leader, those blurred boundaries don't just impact you, they impact your team, they impact your family. Today, we are going to dive into how to set and maintain boundaries at work and at home so that you can protect your energy and so you can show up clarity and compassion and kindness and lead by example. So picture this. It is the end of a long day. You've been in back-to-back meetings, you skipped your lunch, you're about to log off and an email lands that says, "Hey, can you handle this quickly?" So your instinct is to say yes. You want to be reliable. You want to show up as a good worker, as a good leader. You don't want to disappoint others. So you stay. You get home late. You miss out on time with your family. And then the next day, you show up a little bit more depleted. Maybe as you're hearing this, it doesn't sound that bad. But what often happens is that it's not just a one time thing. It happens day after day, week after week, month after month, and sometimes people are going through this same cycle, doing these same patterns year after year. And that's what leading without clear boundaries looks like. So many leaders don't even realize how much it's costing them until it's too late, until they have ruined relationship, until they've ended up in the hospital, until teams have been destroyed. When we think about what it means to have boundaries, to set them, to communicate them, to enforce them, again, it's not just about you, it's about everyone else around you as well. So, why is it so hard? This term is not new. We've been hearing about boundaries forever, but if you're listening to this, there's something about it that's resonating with you. So, why is it so hard for us? Well, most of us don't want to disappoint others. We equate a no with rejection. And so we don't want to have other people feeling rejected by us. And really, we don't want to be rejected by other people either. A lot of times we are tying our worth to our productivity. If I do more, then I am more. Whether this is a conscious or unconscious thing, oftentimes this is the belief that we have that's driving our behaviors. Or there's this myth of 24/7 leadership that if we're always on, it can show how committed we are, right? There's lots of different underlying reasons why we end up having poor boundaries or no boundaries at all. And the truth is, being constantly available doesn't make you a better leader. It doesn't make you a better parent or significant other. It can make you a more exhausted one, which then leads to us not being able to show up as our best self and not being able to lead and communicate and perform at the level that we want to. Can narrow our perspective, it shortens our temper, it can push us to be more reactive, making poor decisions. And so when we think about our boundaries, they're not selfish. It is a leadership advantage. And it is important that we are doing it for ourselves, but also that we're modeling it for others as well. Because when we're setting a boundary, we're doing two things. One, we're protecting our energy. We can't offer that clarity and the steadiness when we are constantly running on fumes. And again, a lot of times we don't realize that we've been running on fumes until it's too late, until we end up sick, until we end up blowing up at someone because we're just so completely exhausted, until we end up in the hospital, which often happens. Two, we are modeling the behavior that we want, and our team is going to follow what we do. And so when you are making time for recovery, when you are making time to have those difficult conversations, you're modeling that for other people as well. And then you're giving them that permission to do it also. And then we're clarifying expectations. A lot of people feel like boundaries are bad or having a difficult conversation is bad. They're not inherently bad. It is okay and beneficial for us to have boundaries. It is okay and beneficial for us to have difficult, challenging conversations with people. A lot of times we are attaching this like good or bad, right, wrong to things, and it's keeping us from being able to make the decisions and show up in the way that we want to show up. And again, we're thinking about how can we show up in the way that we desire, make the impact that we desire sustainably for the long term. And strong boundaries are going to build trust when our actions are aligned with our words, when other people and for us ourselves, when we are seeing that congruence, when other people see the congruence between what we say and what we do. Because weak boundaries can create confusion for people and there's the inconsistency. So what is the cost of not having boundaries? Well, what's the real world impact? Your time gets hijacked by everyone else's priorities. Resentment builds up because you're giving more than you can sustain. Relationships are strained and you're not able to be present with the people that you care about. And our results slip. We're more reactive, and that impacts our team as well. So, yes, you can still lead without boundaries, but you're not going to be able to lead in the way that you desire. And it's going to impact both your performance or results and the performance and the results of the people around you. And so, boundaries help to protect your ability to show up and lead for you and your team as well. So, here's some practical tools that you can start using this week. One, name it and claim it. Write down your top 3 priorities, and then be honest with yourself, be clear. If a request doesn't support your priorities, can you say no or can you say not right now? Right? And this can give you more clarity around what you're saying yes to and then what you can say no to. Is this thing aligned with what's important for me right now? No or not right now. 2 is practicing the pause. Especially if you are someone who will immediately just say yes without even thinking about it. If the yes is your default, practice just pausing before you answer or saying, let me think about that before giving an answer to someone. You don't owe people immediate answers all the time. You can say, let me check my schedule and get back to you. Give yourself time to actually process what the request is. Sometimes it's also asking clarifying questions so we understand the totality of what is being asked before we say yes, so that we can make more intentional choices. Number 3 is that we're communicating with clarity. Vague boundaries get crossed or non-communicated boundaries get crossed. Sometimes we say, "Oh, I have this boundary," but we never communicate it to anyone else. So communicating it with clarity and be specific. So the difference of like, "Oh, I need more work-life balance," to say, "I am not gonna take any phone calls after 6 o'clock," or "I am not checking my emails after 8 p.m." Whatever it is for you, setting that boundary and then communicating, making it clear. Number 4, automate, delegate, or eliminate. Audit your week. Look at the tasks that you are doing on a regular basis. What can be automated? What can be templated? What can be scheduled? What can somebody else do better or quicker, or just that they have more time and capacity to be able to do it? What are things that can be completely removed from my calendar altogether? Actually take that time to look at what you're doing so you can choose, is this something that I can automate? Is this something I can delegate to someone else? Is this something that can be completely removed? Because many boundary problems are actually like system problems. They're design problems. So looking at your week and looking at each individual task. And number 5, reinforcing it with consistency. Words can set the boundary, but the behavior is going to be what holds it. So actually Uphold the boundaries that you set. If you say you're not going to respond to emails after 7 p.m., but you keep replying at 10 o'clock at night, you're going to train people to ignore the fact that you said you're not going to reply after 7 p.m. Be consistent and remember, boundaries can still be kind. You can be kind as you are setting your boundaries and communicating your boundaries. Every boundary you set sends this message. I value my time and my energy, and I value yours. We don't want to show up and have resentment and frustration and exhaustion when we are with our team or with our family or with our friends or driving or out in the community. Right? Think about how you want to show up, how you want to lead at work and at home. And then remember that boundaries are a gift. Boundaries can be kind. And it's better that we are communicating them earlier on, not when we are completely exhausted and frustrated, then we're yelling at people about these boundaries that we're putting in place, right? So taking time for yourself, thinking about what are the boundaries I need to create, what are the boundaries I need to enforce, and then communicating them clearly and with kindness. So, your challenge this week is just to pick one. Pick one boundary that you want to create or enforce, and then communicate it if necessary, communicate it to others, and then notice how that feels for you, just focusing on the one thing. And boundaries don't make you less available. It's about making you more effective. Right? Thinking about the things that we are doing, how we're showing up in the world, the impact we want to make, remembering that boundaries are going to help us be able to show up in the way that we desire and in a more sustainable way. Hopefully, this was helpful for you. And I hope that you continue going out in the world, making a positive impact, and remember to take care of yourself and others along the way. Bye.